right, boys.
Modelo time.
It's Modelo time. Modelo time. What is it? Started in Camp Out?
Yeah, we got that video in the RV. That was a good time. It was you. Max was there. I'm trying to think who else was there. Steph was there.
Just, do this.
Put it in the trash.
Yeah.
It's okay. It's okay. So, I'm sitting here with Black V-neck in the tiny stew.
It's not that small. It's not
Yeah.
that small. Size doesn't matter.
Yeah, that's what that's what your girl tells you. So how have you guys been, man? How's the music?
Busy but good. We've been on the road a lot. I'm sure we've seen some of your beautiful faces these last few months, and we're gonna see more faces these months. So we're super excited about that and have a ton of music in the works. Ton.
Oh, my turn to talk.
Go ahead.
No, I was kidding. I have nothing to say.
You have nothing to say? All right, so here's let's start this off by asking a quick one. I just made a video about ghost production. What are your thoughts on ghost production? Is it a problem in tech house? Should people care about it?
Can I speak freely?
Yeah,
All right.
whatever you want.
No, it's not a problem. If that's your primary concern, I think you have some other issues you need to work out. You should not be worried about what other people are doing that way. Yes, you should be paying attention to other people's releases, but at the end of the day, fans don't care, man. Like, they're going to hear it comes out and be like, oh, that's a cool song. They're going to like it or they're not. It doesn't matter if it was produced by the person it says is on the title or by somebody else. The fact of the matter is, if they're not, listening to your records, if DJs aren't playing your records, then you're doing something wrong. And if you're sitting there worrying about what other people are doing and who actually made it and you're, butthurt over that, again, you have bigger issues, I think.
Yeah, I agree.
What he said.
Yeah, I think the conclusion of my video was you can't do anything about it, so why even bother? If you're not the person being ghost produced, worrying about who's ghost produced isn't going to do anything for you. And I guess my final recommendation was try to brand yourself outside of music. So I think point number 1 was make good music. And point number 2 was try to brand yourself outside of music, because if you don't, it's not going to be enough, sadly.
I think the big thing too is to do your own thing. Find what works for you and build your own path. And that's a big thing I've started to have revelations about and thinking about. Instead of thinking about, oh, what this guy do or what that guy do, maybe I can do what he did and what he can do. Everyone has their own path. And we all can't take the path of somewhere else who had a hit song in the 90s and then came out 20 years later because I was 1 year old. That wasn't going to happen. It's just you have to make your own thing and don't worry about anyone else. And your journey will be different from everyone else's. It's the reality.
Fact. So when did you guys realize, all right, we have a sound? And how long did that take?
Well,
it was like an accident.
Yeah, I mean, look, Julian and I have been making music since 2013 together. We've done a few things before Black V-neck, and even when we started Black V-neck, it wasn't like, all right, we got it. I mean, we literally trashed between 5 and 10 songs, I think, before we actually were like, okay, this is working. People like this. They're playing it. We're getting somewhere. And even then, we've refined and, just gotten better. And it's not really about honing in on any one particular thing. It's just about doing what comes naturally to you, I think. And if it's unique and, it stands out and people go, oh, that sounds like you, then, I think you can kind of say that you have a sound. But I don't think you can ever really say that, this is my sound, because that's kind of like well,
it's always going to be inspired by something or
oh yeah
inside something. But I do feel like you guys, ever since I met you, and I met you when you, basically started making house music.
You always the first person
to book you guys.
Yeah.
But you guys always had a vision, and that's why I always fucked with you, because it wasn't about all right, yeah, let's just, hang out or see what we can come up with. It was, this is where we want to be. This is what we need to do to get there. This is the amount of hours that we need to put in. And I feel like it's always been like that with you guys.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, between our consistent studio schedule, we try to be in there at least 3 times a week. Something comes up, whatever, but we definitely will make up for it. Excuse me. It's not so much like a grind set, so to speak. It's just like a consistency thing.
Yeah.
If there's no consistency, you're not going to get anything done. And just to take it back a step, you were mentioning about the inspiration. One of my favorite quotes, and I wish I knew who said it, is you can't find your own sound without trying to imitate somebody else first.
Oh, facts.
Yeah. So, that's super huge.
I think a big thing for us, like this was a big turning point in our, I don't want to say career, because in the career, but inspirational wise, was Von Stroke signing Mouth Music, because we didn't expect it. It was the 5th song we sent, and he signed it 2 months after we sent it. So we sent like 5 tracks. 2 months later, it was December 31st, if I remember correctly. He's like, we want this one. And it was like left field. It was like, why would you take this track? Like, it's not.
How many tracks did you send in before?
Oh, before that?
5, I think.
Well, we sent 5 tracks with that one, and then before that, probably another 6 or 8, I'd say, minimum.
6 or 8 tracks.
Yeah, so probably like 10 tracks in total before like we signed one with Dirtybird. And
how did that feel though? Like,
I mean,
did you feel
that
like
that moment was like, at the time it was like, we did it, we made it.
It was like right before New Year's too, right?
Yeah. But like the freedom of him signing that record, I think showed us we can make kind of whatever we want.
Yeah.
And that's I think what hit it for me, because before we were always like, what's hot or what are people doing or what's the sound, and that was a moment where we did something that doesn't sound like anybody, at least like we've there's inspirations, but it wasn't like directly, oh, Jamie Jones did this, let's do this, and it gave us that ounce of freedom,
the confidence to do it,
and that really, like, I think that was a big turning point. We still made a lot of trash records after it.
Before, everybody makes like
still making trash.
Yeah. I think that, and I talk about this a lot. I think that people I don't know. They just don't realize the amount of effort that it takes to get to that place, and how many records you need to trash, and that's just part of the process.
You're not gonna release everything you make.
Oh no, I don't release half the shit I make.
Yep.
And then the best part is, they wanted a B-side, so we spent like 2 months, and we sent them 4, maybe 5, but minimum 4 records. Man. And what was the last one of the 4? Was Sex, Drugs, Alcohol. So it's the last one. They signed the last one of the first email we sent, and the last one of the second email.
Is Sex, Drugs, Alcohol your biggest track?
Yeah. Has like 10 million streams on YouTube, I think.
And it blew up on TikTok as well.
That's why the streams, and 4 million on Spotify, almost 5. So like, definitely something crazy that we made in our little studio. You came to our old little studio.
That's wild.
And
I don't know. I gotta say, it was sort of the same for me. I guess that's why I always have this respect for Von Stroke and Dirtybird, because my tracks are pretty left field, I'd say. I just make whatever the fuck I want, and they're not very tech house or playable. So when they signed, they signed Cut the Mids, and Hunter Reed sent me a video from camping. The first one, it wasn't camping even. It was like Camp Out East.
Yeah. The legendary East.
The one with a lot of situations in there. And he sent me that video, and I was like, yo, what the fuck? And they signed that. And every track that they've signed for me is just like the track that I least expect they're ever gonna sign. Like, they signed Caracas, which I thought nobody was gonna sign.
Be that way.
Straight up, nobody was going to sign, and it is definitely my highest performing track, and it's been huge, man. That track has been huge, and that's why also talking about Dirtybird, and people always like, how do you get on Dirtybird? How can I get on Dirtybird? Could you email Von Stroke? Like, first of all, no,
Yeah, no. Don't
I'm
do
not
that.
going to do that. That's never going to happen, by the way. And second of all, what you guys were talking about listening to what was going on at the time, if you are listening to what's going on at the time, that is 6 months to a year old, right? So if you're trying to make the music that's out right now, you're already completely late, and that's music that's not going to get signed.
Like all our records that are coming out
Yeah.
now
That's a good point. Actually.
are a year old.
Yeah.
So, and
We've been
then
playing them in our sets for that long, so it's like no surprise to the people who have been listening. Like you said, this
Yeah.
is the shit.
there's probably going to be one that's like 2 years old.
There you go. And they're going to hear that, and they're going to be like, all right, I need to make a track like this Black Peanut track. But when the music that you're making now is 2 years ahead of that track.
Yeah.
So that's not going to work. So that's why you either...
You're right. No, we do have something actually. Yeah.
Either you got to make the music that you want and don't care about it, or the second option is start listening to DJ sets and get inspiration from those sets, even if you don't have the tracks. But never look at releases, because you're way too late if you're looking at releases.
Yeah.
It's a tough world out there. You're trying to be the innovator at the end of the day.
Well,
I'm saying all of us. Like, well,
some are trying to innovate.
true. Go to the Beatport chart.
Yeah, others are jumping from one genre to another, and some are really good at it. Hey,
Yeah.
I know I couldn't do it, not because I'm cooler or anything, but I just can't. If you want to follow the latest trend, you got to move so quickly, because if you want to follow the number one on Beatport right now, you basically got to make a track in a day and send it out right now.
Yep.
And some people can do that. I can't do that. And I don't want to do that, but I couldn't do it if I tried. I take time with my records. I like to be proud of them for myself. And then, all right, people like them. That's awesome. That's just like that Quentin Tarantino quote,
Yeah.
People ask him, like, who do you make movies for? He says, I make movies for myself, and then I pray that, for the...
Metacritic.
No, what's the fucking thing? For the production company that people actually like it.
Yeah, I feel like when we make a track, at least for me personally, it's kind of like I close my eyes and I pretend I'm playing the record out. And I'm so used to making music since I was 15 years old in my apartment. I wasn't at a club. We need that mic there, man.
You're good.
But yeah, anyway, so I was used to never being in a club in a sense. So it's like I always close my eyes and imagine what would people dance to. And it's not necessarily what people dance to because I heard it on Beatport or things, but it's what would people dance to in house music? What can I get? How can I capture somebody's attention? So you just close your eyes.
The groove. Yeah.
The groove.
The groove.
I think I've implemented a lot of... I don't really even send tracks until I try them out if I can. Because you don't really know.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. It happened to me at Camp In right now. I had this idea that the Red Dress track was going to be the one. I was like, this is the fucking hit. This is going to be a hit. And
Let me guess, it wasn't.
no, it wasn't. I made this quick edit, all on my analog rhythm, basically, and I've been doing a lot of that. Drum machine, straight up, let's go, 909, 707. And I make this quick edit with this like dance mania track that went, Let Me See Your Birth Control.
Yeah.
So clearly, I'm not gonna release that.
Yeah.
I don't want to get killed. But I played it and it smacked so well. Like everything in the track sonically hit so well in every speaker. I said, clearly, this is it. The other one was a great concept, but it just didn't immediately hit perfect. And this one did.
Yeah, like that's the thing. I feel like every time for me, and that wasn't meant to be, what I said wasn't meant to be shots at you or anything. It's just for me
it's
when
just the way it is.
Yeah, when I try and be like, oh yeah, this is gonna be the one, it never freaking is. You can never like point and say because you don't know, and then chances are you think it might be the one because it's everything you like to hear, but not necessarily what other people like.
Yeah. So I basically came back And I said, people were asking about it a lot. And a few people, DJs, were hitting me up about it. And I said, look, I can't, I don't want to send this out because I'm going to finish this track. I ended up finishing the track. I added some vocals from another place that I had already recorded, got a girl to record some female vocals in response, changed basically the lead, and it just got signed to I don't know if I can say it, but it just got signed.
Fuck yeah, dude.
So that was really cool, and that's also a thing of, I also I like trusting myself, but you got to be humble enough to wait a bit.
Yes.
And listen, because you guys know sometimes you make a beat and that shit is already sounding like a master because it's perfect how the elements fit together.
I think that's how you should approach every beat, or anything, in my opinion. Not to get too heady into the the technical side of things, but
hey,
it's all
the people
mix.
that are gonna watch this are gonna be heady and into the technical.
It's all in the mix. It's all in the mix. Always.
If it slaps, it slaps.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm just thinking about how we're talking about how things come out, a year later and stuff. Yeah. And then this podcast is probably going to come out a month or two after.
I don't know. Maybe not. Who knows?
Not in a bad way. It's just funny because we're saying these things now and then you're hearing this advice a month late already. You're already late.
No, you can't. Let's talk a little bit about how do you guys deal? I mean, of course, right now, I think things for you are exploding better than ever. About to, I would say, have Black Bee next year. Next year, I think it's gonna be it for sure. And I've been saying it for a while, right? But how do you deal with the anxiety of I gotta, there's never enough. I gotta have another track. I gotta have another 4 tracks. I gotta have a million plays. What do I have to have the release schedule fixed for 2 years? How does that play into how you make tracks, or does that bother you at all? You go
the way things are right now, for us, I personally have my, I don't want to say anxiety, but lack of patience, because everything's signed right now, or we have enough records signed, and we have actually our release schedules every 2 weeks we have a track coming out, and it's a little woo because I have to squeeze everything in. But if anything, my impatience comes from the track coming out, because the tracks that are already out for us are old.
Mm-hmm.
Not in a bad way. You can still play them, and they're probably fresh to a lot of people who haven't heard them yet. But for us, it's well, no, you haven't heard this one, and then 2 weeks later, but you haven't heard this one. Oh, I've been holding on to this one for a year, and it's that's the part I cannot wait for, is to show everybody all the music and to see what it does, because maybe we have one song that's gonna come out, and then I don't know, Jamie Jones or Carl Cox is yeah, this is the one, and then it's whoa. So all the things, I'm exaggerating, but all the things that come with a track release, I cannot wait for that track to come out, for all those things to come with it. So now I'm just being patient, but in the meantime, we're just cooking like normal.
I mean, man, I think that's probably the best kind of anxiety you could ever have. No, that's a pretty good kind of anxiety. That's I'm fucking killing it right now, and I gotta wait for these tracks to come through.
The record can not be promoted correctly, cannot come out, or people are just that's not the one. So there's a little bit of everything going on in that mixture, but it's more so we just keep doing the formula that we've been doing, and just waiting for them to come out is the anxious part.
I mean, yeah. So for me, no, I don't have any anxiety.
That's awesome, man.
I mean, it's a product of my
anxiety to getting it to the airport.
Yeah. That's my anxiety. I need to be at the airport minimum 30 minutes before we board, or else
Well, I mean, I think you have to be 30 minutes before you board, at least. No. You gotta be an hour at least.
No, this dude is all right, if I can get into the line to board the plane the moment they call my the zone or whatever it is.
Oh, that's perfect timing.
Yeah, for you.
Do you guys have all the clear or the passes and all that shit?
Yeah, he got TSA pre-check, and then a week later I got my global entry.
Oh,
yeah, so it's so good. Life. It's so good. But yeah, man, I don't have any anxiety with that stuff. For me, I think COVID and all that stuff, quarantine rather, showed us if we really needed to, we can buckle down and knock out 2 tracks, in 2 or 3 days. Like it's really doable for us. And that's not saying they're going to be completely done, but yeah, the arrangement's going to be there. It'll have a rough master on it. It'll be like 90% of the way there. We can do it.
That's awesome.
That whole track anxiety or whatever it is you want to call it, no, thankfully it's non-existent. And I think a big part of that is have other things that you do to take your mind off of music. Like I love gaming. I spend time at home with my girl, with my pets and whatever, and that is enough to keep my mind off of work. And I don't want to call it work, but at the end of the day, this is what we're doing. So
yeah. Do you guys need to be relaxed to make music, like in the right headspace?
Oh, yeah,
or can
yeah.
you be, could you have a bad day, be stressed out, and still crank them out?
It's obviously nice if you're not, because I feel like the clearer your mind is, the easier it is to, be in that creative space. But for me personally, no. If I had just dealt with really terrible drivers, which is almost every day here, and I get to the studio, I'm just like, oh, I need to make something aggressive. Like, yeah, I can channel that energy. If I have a bunch of other stuff on my mind, unrelated to music, it's a little more difficult. So
yeah,
I find for me when I'm, I guess, the happiest, like I feel like in a mood free, I don't have to worry about a phone call or an email or something. It's just free to do what I want. I think that's when things
when
flow.
it works.
But
for me,
it's up and down. It's never it's never up here.
I
never only down here.
can't make music when I'm stressed out, man. I mean, I can, but
you won't enjoy it though. That's the funny part. It might actually not be a bad song, so I don't want to say it's bad, but no, like you won't enjoy the process of making it as much.
I want to have fun.
You want to accidentally get something that makes you go, oh
exactly.
Yeah,
That's why I'm doing this.
Yeah.
Like I'm doing this because I love making music.
Yes.
It makes me happy.
Yep.
And this is my like going surfing or whatever any of you guys do. So yeah, if I had like a bad day, I'll still sit down. I think you got to sit down at least an hour a day, no matter what. If you want to do anything in music, you can't just not sit down. So I still sit down, I still go through it, but clearly 20% as productive as a day that I'm really enjoying it.
yeah, I mean, and even if it's not even the hour a day, because I personally can't. Excuse me. I personally can't do that. I'm not in the studio every single day, but
Yeah, but you guys are full days in the studio, so
exactly. It makes up for it. But yeah, again, and even if you're not doing, like I'm not always in the studio doing Black V-neck stuff. Julie and I'll be in there Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursdays doing Black V-neck, and then I'm either seeing clients doing whatever else I want to do for myself, other people's projects, collaborations just for fun or whatever it is. Fridays and Saturdays, and then I have Sunday and Monday off. So,
yeah,
you know what I mean? Even
that's
if
cool.
it's not
cool.
Black V-neck stuff, I'm still working on other genres, staying fresh.
I think it's a really good idea to every once in a while, even if you can't, just go in and try to make something different and just have fun with it. I've been making like randomly like lo-fi house tracks just for fun.
Because it makes you feel good, right?
Yeah, whatever, dude. It's cool. Every once in a while, I'm like, I don't want to do this anymore. And I've completely, I gotta say, I've completely failed at continuing the formula, which I don't recommend at all. Right? Every time I have what for me is a hit, let's say, I always make something completely different after, which is the dumbest thing you could ever do. Right? Definitely don't do that. But that's exactly what I always do. And what I always say, I don't want to, like right now, I basically the biggest track I had before this one was Caracas. And now I made a ghetto house track. And it's like, what am I doing? Why am I not making the same style of breakbeat with a different lead or whatever? And that's what you should do. No, don't do what I do.
Teach their own, though. You never know.
In my opinion, if you continue to do that, I feel like it could be perceived the wrong way. Does that make sense?
I mean, for us, but for the people though.
No, but I'm saying by the people. I feel like it could be perceived the wrong way. Like, oh, that he's just a trendsetter. And then once you do the follow-up or the follow to the follow-up, like it's like, all right, he's washed out. Like that sound is done. I don't, you know what I mean? Like it's old already. Like he can't do anything else, and like they just lose their attention.
No, even worse than that is you do something and it works pretty well. Like all these DJs you never had before play your record, you're like, oh shit. Then you do it again, they're like, okay. And then you do it a third time, and nobody gives a shit because like the first time got you here, the second time maybe like not really much further. What makes you think the third time is all of a sudden the one? I mean, give it a shot, but that's the worst thing because you stick to a sound that doesn't technically work to the best of the ability.
Yeah.
So here are my thoughts. I'm always way too extreme when it comes to this thing because I'm like, all right, I made this track. I already did that. I want to make something completely different because I just want to. I don't know why. I guess I want to be the most creative or the most special or whatever, which is probably an ego thing, I guess. But I see people put out tracks and then just hammer that shit on 5 top labels. And it's like, are they wrong though? You know what I mean?
No, they're not wrong.
Are they wrong? And
No.
And I do think, of course, don't make the same track. It would be stupid. But at least if you can, if people really enjoy this sort of style, you could make a couple more in the style and then move on instead of, basically, trying to be too much or trying to be too creative. Because honestly, I think being a producer is a struggle between I want to be a producer and I want to be creative and I want to do this thing for me and I want to make the most intricate stuff, and do I want to make things that actually work and people want to listen to, right?
Yeah, sometimes what the people want is less than you think sometimes. And that's another big thing. And
oh yeah.
It's just, I don't know, it's all about the idea.
Just like a tech house loop and just put it on there.
If you put it a vocal that is killer, it's it.
or just grab a, why don't you just grab a track from the 90s that was a #1 on Billboard and chop a vocal and put it on a tech house beat?
We're sitting at like Ruby Tuesdays and at the airport, and this R&B song is playing, and then what was the line? It came in on the verse of the song.
You're the one that recognized it. I wouldn't know. So.
Oh yeah. Your heart and it's something that's
Yeah. I know. You pulled up the track on your phone. And everything.
Yeah. I hear this R&B voice and I'm like, just that one line of a verse of a like Mary J. Blige song or something, and I'm like, I know that record.
Bro. I mean, honestly, the last records that have been #1 or close to it were huge tracks
top 10
from the
Beatport
90s.
Yep.
That were not top 10 Beatport, but top 10 worldwide, like pop tracks.
I feel like every time I go through the top 10 of Beatport, that's what I was trying to say. Is I see that. It's like, oh, that's a sample, that's a sample, that's a sample. Like
it's like, how easy would it be for me to go and just fucking grab Will Smith, "Welcome to Miami,"
but
put that on
the best is if you do the deep cut. So like,
"Welcome to Miami."
No, but the best is if you do the deep cut, like the R&B song where maybe I don't listen to R&B that heavy or the 90s R&B and I don't notice the verse, and then they catch you off that. The one like I feel dumb for not knowing was it Whitney Houston and the Jax Jones, "I Got You." I didn't realize like he just took the whole song, and it's not that I'm surprised per se, but I was like, I heard that song, the Whitney Houston one, and I'm like, oh my God, like you just took this record and now it's everything.
Listen,
kudos to him though. I didn't know.
It's cheating because, okay, here's why it's cheating.
But did he clear it though?
Here's why it's cheating though. Listen, these are tracks from when you were 10 years old. So you don't specifically remember exactly the track, but it is in your subconscious. So you hear the vocal and you immediately know what it is. It feels so familiar. And that's what a hit is familiarity. Yeah. Your ability to recall the track and remember, that's the track that goes like that. And that comes from that. Man. So if you go in and you grab a track from a fucking Ford commercial in the 90s and then you put it on a tech house beat, I'm telling you, that's a hit. Mm-hmm. Just because people are not going to immediately figure it out, but it's still in their head because they clearly heard it at some point.
Yeah. We have a track that we're working on right now. I can't give away any details on this, but I feel like that track specifically does what you're talking about, unintentionally though. And the best part about this track is that it's not a rip of anything. It's completely original. It just has...
It makes you think about
this nostalgic
Yeah,
vibe.
it has nostalgia built into it.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And even then, like, it's funny because we're addressing this, but for all our fans who've been seeing us play, if you've been watching us on our streams and stuff, we've been playing our track To the Floor, which has the Roscoe Dash Waka Flocka vocal, but it's a cover. We had someone cover it. And I think for us on that one, it's like we want to take this song that we partied to when we were, 15 years old, 14, I don't even know. But, like, you know, it's like this cool hip-hop song that got us hyped up. We wanted to put it on a house record and keep the hype going, and you feel that crowd and the energy. And even another one I'm thinking about, the other one that everyone's going crazy for is Papi Chulo that we have with Sid. We took the reggaeton sample, and it's funny, people actually don't know that reggaeton song like very well.
I have a track that has that vocal, but I never released it. I just play it out.
But we play that record, and I think that's everything we've been talking about. They have the nostalgia of the reggaeton, and they might know it in their subconscious.
And it's like all these. I mean, well, you know, there's a lot of artists that are now grabbing Latin vocals and calling this thing Latin tech house, and they're all
Latin X tech house.
Yeah, well, they're going they're going in and grabbing these tracks, and it's just like it's calling to people that have Latin heritage and their throwback. And I gotta say, a lot of these people don't even know where that comes from. And then some people will surprise you a lot. Like I was talking to Justin J, and I had like a half an hour conversation with Justin J about merengue house and shit like that, and he knew absolutely every band, every song, and I was like, oh my god, man. And it was so amazing. It was like, this is so fucking cool because you took the time to look into that and actually made edits, and it's really dope of him. What I don't like is when you just have the tech house beat and you just drop, you know, the famous vocal on top of it. Like I want to see a little bit more creativity.
Man, there's a lot of things going through my head right now.
we can cut some of this if you guys don't want to.
Sponsored by ADHD.
No. Shit. I feel like please, this is again not shots fired, but we felt the need to, you know, do a little bit more with our Deep End remix for that same reason. We didn't want it to just be the beat. And again, not shots fired, because
I think that's one of my favorite tracks that you guys made. I love it. It has such a good 2012 deep house vibe.
I feel like I think we nailed that vibe. But again, like, not shots fired at John. His version clearly fucking works, like 1,000%. We just felt like it needed a little bit more. Like, we were just feeling a little extra from it.
I remember when we found the vocal, like I told him, oh, we have to write the bass line around the vocal. Yeah. And we made our version slow, planning on actually making a hard version. So like, all right, Black V-neck version. But after we made the slow version, because we wanted to make it melodic that felt with the vocal and wrapping her voice around with the Moog, we were like, there's no need for a hard version because this is it. This is the version.
Yeah. No, I think it's really cool. I think that's a really cool vocal.
I was going to tell you
cool track.
I think one of my huge aspirations as a producer, just to be able to say that I did this, is to clear a sample from El Gran Combo and just make a track around that. That would be sick.
How do you guys feel about, like, when you put out Mouth Music, how do you guys feel about all the tracks that came out that followed that track, that basically were inspired by that track? Does that feel good?
Of ours or other people?
No, other people. Does that feel good, or does that feel annoying?
I'm going to be super honest. Like, I genuinely don't really, off the top of my head, I don't know tracks of people who are trying to imitate us. I'm sure there are a few, but the only story I know is someone sampled Mouth Music. Like, they took our kick, bass, and clap, made a record with it, called it Florida Man, which was even, I think, hurt the heart more because this person was in California 1 and 2. We're from Florida. So, like, you're stealing a Florida people's record, calling it Florida Man. and sent it to me as promo, and then sold it on
they
Beatport.
sent it to you?
Yeah, and
Oh
I was
my
like,
God.
I was like,
I
for
think
real, dude?
West End had something like that.
Yeah,
where
but
the
like we
dude
made
took it
not
down.
to like disrespect anyone else, and maybe West End made the loop and stuff, but
Yeah.
we made the kick from scratch, like.
Yeah.
Ian made that in kick too. Like it's not like, well, you happen to find the same kick drum that we found on Splice. Like no, you stole the
That's
sound.
fucked
So
up,
that
man.
was the only thing that was like.
Like
too
I gotta
much.
cut you off for a second. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
We're not showing the Sims here. Like we're having a producer. We're having
You had it covered the whole time.
producer podcast. We're not showing the synth.
Oh my god.
What's going on, man?
Oh, dude, is that our next synth man?
Have you gone to Wish
If
You Were
you
Gear?
need, if you need this one, let me know because I got the. Don't look at me though. I got the plugs.
Oh yeah.
Well, not for free, but
Yeah.
with a discount.
So let me know.
Have
Yeah.
you gone to Wish You Were Gear here in Miami?
I haven't. No, I
It's
haven't.
literally like 3 blocks from you right
Yeah,
here.
it's super
Haven't gone.
sick.
I don't really have much gear. You see, I have the Innovation Base Station. I have the Analog Rhythm. That's my favorite piece by far. I copied that one from you guys. The passive whatever
It's
monitor
been a trooper.
controller, and I have the Analog Heat. And
Oh yeah, how is that? How do you like it?
I like it a lot, but it's not like I'm gonna throw it on everything.
I feel you.
You know. So look, in my nerdism, and also I don't know if I'm ever gonna do it, but I really want the Culture Vulture, but it's like $2,500.
Do you have UAD?
No.
So honestly, that's what I do. I obviously I use it very rarely, like on 10% of content I ever will pass through it. But the UAD plugin is very, very true to nature. Like it's very good. And the thing for me personally about the Culture Vulture is that there's really only there's a sweet spot. It's either too much or way too little. And there's a very, very fine area of operation on that unit specifically where you're getting just enough harmonics that it justifies you even like having it. But otherwise, like,
you gotta
it's not-
remember
it's
that
not worth it.
your sound is cleaner than mine. Because I
guess.
do like like right now I'm running almost my whole track through either the Heat or a plugin that I'm not gonna say that is like something similar to a Culture Vulture that crushes everything a bit because I like the crush of the hat, and you hate that.
I hate that. I need it to sound.
Every time I send a track to these guys, Ian will say, "Hey, I think there's." I think there's a bit of clipping on the hats, and I was like, yes, that's the whole fucking idea.
Chami was telling us he's printing records on a burl, right? So he's taking the signal from Ableton and stuff and basically like printing it on a burl.
D to A, yeah, because then he will literally just send his stuff into the analog domain.
Oh,
He said, yeah, to sync through the burl, and I don't remember what he was using for A to D, but yeah.
damn.
I mean, that would be nice if we actually had gear to pass the shit through, but everything we're doing is in the box.
Yeah.
So
I mean, you don't
But it's
really
flavor.
need anything.
It's
This is
taste.
just fun. It's
Yeah.
just
yeah,
fun.
it's
to
the,
be
like
honest.
he was saying,
That's
it's the extra 5%, and for
it's
me, I
like
get that out of the
so
UAD
small.
anyways, and it does a great
And,
job at that. It's the only
yeah,
reason
yeah.
we
I
have
mean,
it. So
I try to stay as minimal as possible. I mean, the other thing I didn't mention is the 808. I have here and they're all from Behringer. So the 808, I think I bought it for $250, which I thought is an awesome
Dude,
deal.
when Behringer finally releases that UBXA,
Oh, you want to get that one?
that's my one of my top. That's top 3 synths for me of all time.
To be honest, I gotta say I highly recommend the Analog Rhythm. I love it so much. It lets me be super creative. I'm not even half as creative on the 808. It's just being able to basically automate every hit of every drum.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't do that. You can't do that anywhere else. I mean, you can do it in Ableton, but it's just not half as fun. Sometimes I'll go in and I'll put
having the tactile feedback is what makes it.
I'll put
for sure.
808s and I'll maybe add a lot of distortion to one of the 808 hits, but not all of them.
Yeah.
Like all of those little flavor things, they hit.
Synths are all toys. That's what people ask. Do you need a synth to make a record or
Oh, no.
whatever? No,
No,
it's
you
it's all toys to inspire you. The thing is, a lot of your favorite producers are using these synthesizers. So
Well,
that's if you want to
A lot of our favorite producers
Yeah.
are using the same, but the guys that have number ones on Billboard have clean spaceship studios.
Serum.
They're all in the box.
Yeah. No, but I'm saying like it depends on your sound. If you want to do this tech house, underground, deep house feel, or progressive house even, then you're gonna want that analog flavor that comes from these synths that only have 2 to 3 oscillators at most, and just the limited band capacity and the signal, like the computer chip, like all those type of things. But besides that, they're toys. It's all toys. So I don't, I feel bad for people who sometimes I think there's people out there who feel like, oh, I'm missing out because
Those
I don't
are just
have like 20
excuses,
cents.
man. Excuses. That's what's all about.
But you don't need it. So then, now that I tell you don't need it, if you say it again, it's an excuse.
I mean, what you do need though are monitors.
Oh yeah.
What you need are monitors in a room.
In a room.
A room and monitors.
Yeah.
So
100%.
But that aside,
And an interface.
Yep.
All three.
I think that definitely.
There's always something.
No, I mean, no. I think having a flat listening area is one of the most important things. If you don't have a magic ear, and a lot of us don't, I don't have I mean, of course, it's been improving throughout the years, and
ear training
now
is number one thing I recommend to people.
Now I have a pretty good ear, but it was difficult to get there. And I would say that having a good room, the thing I recommend the most is just like, if you don't have enough money, buy a good pair of headphones and SonarWorks and start there. Like that's what I would say. And from there, test a lot of different speakers.
Does SonarWorks have that feature for headphones?
Yeah.
Where it'll take, what do you call it? It'll emulate like physical space. So like you'll be able to hear stuff coming from the left on the right ear. Because that's like the one reason I tell people not to mix on headphones, is because you need the atmosphere, that natural crossover that you get by sitting in a room.
Getting an open back.
It's not the same, because you're still getting the right on right only and left on left. Whereas if you're sitting in a room between two monitors, your right ear is still hearing stuff from the left.
My thoughts on this are like, of course, if you can have a good room with good monitors, do that, right? But 1,000%. This is a lot of money. All this, and this is not like, this is a pretty chill studio. It doesn't have a million things, but this is a lot of money. So what would somebody that's starting out, they can get, if they go all out, they can get $1,000 headphones like the Audici, whatever the hell they're called. I got them, and SonarWorks. That's for $1,400. You have basically a pretty good studio. If you want this, I mean, that's a lot more. I mean, that a lot more than that for sure.
Yeah, just for the room too.
Yeah, the room, the speakers, the desks, the whole thing, the sub. I mean, it's pretty hard. The
misconception is just because you put monitors in a room doesn't mean,
man.
Doesn't mean anything.
Way. Like, if you could talk to yourself when you started out, what sort of advice could you give yourself to speed up the process to get where you were at?
Stop worrying so much about other people and pick good sounds.
Pick good sounds? Stop worrying so much about other people. All right.
When you were saying your question before you even got to the end, I was like, oh, I know the one word. And then you're like, to speed up the process. I'm like, no, the word I have is patience. Just have patience on everything. Like, that's the truth. Things will come. Just keep working hard, but take a deep breath, and things aren't going to happen tomorrow.
I would say stick to one thing for a while until you can do that well. I think I say that a lot, and because I didn't do it, and it took me a long time to do things. And I've actually mentored people and helped people start producing music and push them into making the same style of music, and they've just grown so quickly because you like hone into something, and then all right, when you can do that really, really well, then okay, let me see what I can add to make it more special. Let me see what I can add to add a different vibe. But yeah, when I started, I was making stuff at at 80 BPM and hard techno and like G house and all kinds of stuff. So it took me a long time, especially when I said like, oh yeah, I'm gonna make breakbeat that is mixed with Miami bass, and like I spent I don't know how much time just dialing in that sound.
I mean, like going back to the whole finding your sound thing, that's absolutely a part of it, is being consistent. I think we definitely tried to do that for Black V-Neck, but when we first started, we were all over the place too. We'd be doing like trap beats, you know, and then house tracks, and then putting trap beats in the house tracks.
So did you make a trap breakdown or not?
Yeah, we did. We did way too many.
I think everybody did.
They never
that.
worked.
Hey,
so.
I have a track that I worked on, and Bochica.
Nice. No, for us,
Bochica I love that track, and I still play it. I played it last weekend in Denver, but it's very subtle. It's not, like I said, it's not a hard trap.
We had the crashes and everything, and like the DJs would never mix that part, like just mix out of it all the time. Yeah, it was not a.
Now we do the Jersey kicks and
but
girls,
that shit is
vamos.
hard. Like, come on.
I had to tell Ian, I think we gotta stop, because then every track we're gonna play has the Jersey kick in it.
Doom, 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 doom. So good, love it.
Why not? Why not? That's the juke vibes. Juke vibes are in, man. I'm telling you, I played this set in Denver. It was really good. I say Denver, a lot of fun. And they had like all function ones, which is
nice.
You know. And basically, Morelia was playing before me. I stepped to the desk. The deck's 146.
Oof.
And I'm like, I had this whole set thought out that was going to be mostly breaks, right? Because it was sort of like a bass breaks party. And then I was like, all right, I mean, I could play it. I got these tracks. So I started going as hard like that. People were into it. They were cool with it. Then I brought it back down, put in my breaks tracks and all that. Then Left Right's flight was delayed and Stanton Warrior's flight was delayed. So I just kept on playing. And I went back to the juke, and people were I mean, it's not really juke. It's like, I would call it ghetto house, because there's not a better name for it, but that's it. Acid house, ghetto house.
Side comment: when you're switching BPMs on the CDJs, you just hit the sync button and then you move the fader, and the other deck will follow. What's your favorite way to do that?
No, I mean, I just move the BPM on the track that's playing, and then
Okay, está bien.
That's it. I mean, what do you mean?
Like I used to DJ a lot on Tractor.
Yeah.
Back in the day, I used to have the S2, and he had the S4 or whatever.
So you mix in first, and then you move the BPM.
So yeah, I would mix the track at the BPM it was currently at. And if you hit the sync button, the track that you wouldn't be hearing would follow the master. So you could just adjust it. You'd basically be pulling down the tempo fader and bringing up the volume fader of the other track. That way, by the time it got to the drop, it was at the tempo you wanted. So it was like a kind of like a smooth thing like that.
I mean, that works too.
I was just curious.
I'll move the one that's going, and then I'll put it in, and I basically have my own style of set.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys have heard it. It's just a mix of breakbeat, electro, and ghetto house.
No, it's super interesting.
And
you kill it every time.
Appreciate it, man. And that's just where I'm at. And that's where, when I'm making music, I'm just thinking about, is this track a track that I'm going to play? Which is something I didn't do in the beginning. In the beginning, I just made stuff.
Yeah.
And I ended up with a lot of tracks that I never go back to.
Yeah.
And I felt like that was just such a waste of time. Like, why am I even though people did like those tracks, if I'm not playing them, then why am I making them?
I mean, on the contrary, I feel like you don't have to play every record you make either. If you make like a Spotify banger that just is a good radio hit or radio tune,
yeah,
it doesn't work in your sets, so be it. Whatever.
That works.
Hey, yeah, if you didn't see his Christmas in Miami set.
Much love. And I mean, I don't know when this is coming out, so I'm not going to get into dates, right? But like release dates or gig dates, but yeah, I don't know. You guys are now touring every weekend.
It feels like it.
how's that? I mean, how does basically the dream of every producer would be to tour every weekend, and right now I think you guys are on it. How does that feel? Like, how does that feel?
I was one of those kids, who was like, when I'd hear about a big artist complaining about traveling, like it's tiring, I'd be like, shut up, you're living my dream. I can't wait to never see my bed. Now I'm like, I text the team, I'm like, get me in and out of that city as fast as possible. I want to go home. I think it has to do with we're from Miami, if you don't know, so it's the greatest city in the world with all its flaws. It's very flawed, but it's like, it's beautiful, and I just love to be home, so it's like, give me back home. But the traveling is rough. I think so for any newcomers or people starting.
Especially right now. I mean, I just did Denver was 5 hours with the mask. With the mask on, trying not to touch stuff.
Oh, we had a layover.
I'm also pretty tall, so it's really annoying.
We had a layover last weekend, so from the time you get to the airport to the time you land, 7 hours. 7 hours of just sitting there. You're sitting there doing 7 hours of doing nothing with your life, possibly watching like a Netflix show, but you can't do emails, you can't do anything.
If you go to your Spotify, what's the city that has the most plays? Like, where you guys heard the most?
Let's find out. I think
California, and then Germany, maybe. I think
Germany.
Yeah.
Oh, cool,
Mexico
man.
City, I know, is up there.
Mexico City, dude.
Yeah.
Mexico City. I got Mexico City a lot. I got LA number 1 for sure.
Well, let's see. I got the app because I'm crazy.
LA number 1.
So we got countries. We got United States 1, USA, Mexico 2, Germany 3, Netherlands 4, Spain 5. I'm actually surprised it's Spain there. Yeah. And then cities, we got Mexico City, number Amsterdam, 1. Yeah. Damn. Amsterdam 2. I mean, Rotterdam 3. Shout out Afrojack. That's where he's from. 4 is Guadalajara. 5 is Berlin. So actually, the top 5 is not even a U.S. city there.
That's wild, man.
But we've never played in any of those cities or had an asked to yet.
That's very cool. I think mine are. I think LA is number 1 for sure, man. I haven't logged into this thing in ages, so I don't even know if it's gonna work.
All your guests, you're gonna be like, whip out your Spotify artist. Let me hear the stats.
Whip it. Let me see it. Let me see it. Okay, so.
Let me see your Spotify.
What the fuck is this? Okay, listeners, right? Where's down there? United States first, Canada, Mexico, United Kingdom, Germany. But cities is LA, San Francisco, Denver, Mexico City, Chicago. So a lot of American cities for sure.
Nice.
And one last question. There's been videos popping up about like how to make this like black V-neck and that. Like there are videos on how to make music like you guys.
Bro, just ask.
There's tracks. There's 1,000 how to make a John Summit track on YouTube. Like, how do you guys feel about the producer YouTube community, which I think is very separate from the producer for lack of a better word? And I don't know, do you think it's actually useful for people to go and watch these or not?
I'm gonna be real with you again. And not that I haven't been, but YouTube can be the greatest educator and also the greatest source of misinformation. You need to be incredibly careful of the people that you watch and where you get your information from. I'm pretty sure that I've been almost 100% transparent on like our entire process, right? So if you see somebody go out there and say, this is how you make a black V-neck thing, blah, blah, blah. Again, I haven't seen any, right? But I'm just referencing you, and this is how you make a black V-neck this. And then you go and watch what I said or what Julian said, and it doesn't add up, then you already know that this is probably somebody you shouldn't be paying attention to.
I mean, it's a little bit of clickbait.
Absolutely. This goes for everything, though. I mean, like, I never went to school for this. Yeah, I just was trying to hold it this way in case he wanted to chime in. But
you a rookie?
Bro, come on. Come on. Is it better if I talk like this?
No, no, it isn't.
I never went to school for this, right?
Yeah.
Like I learned everything.
Didn't?
No, I learned everything on YouTube. Everything.
Oh wow.
And the way I did it was constantly referencing. If I saw a topic on something and somebody was talking about something, I would go and watch 5 or 6 other different YouTubers on the same topic, and then research it on Wikipedia, whatever other articles I could find on Google to come to my own conclusion. And once I did all of that, I would go and test it myself and see if I liked it or if I didn't like it. Yeah.
So, yeah, what do you think, man? It's pretty weird because they have a lot of them have huge followings.
Okay, well, it's 2 things. One, it's inspiration. If the guy says this is how John Summit made this groove, and maybe you hear it and it sounds like it, you visualize it, you look at it, you hear it, you internalize it, now you know how to do it.
Yeah.
But if you copy what he did to put it on your record, then you just made a John Summit record and you're unoriginal. So that's on you of yourself. Yeah. So that's the second half of now that's on you as a producer. But I think it's okay to see how other people did it to get an idea or an inspiration or to sprinkle in a thing, because I think we're products of being inspired by like 10 different artists ourselves.
Yeah.
And they all cultivate into our sound. And then we've had those artists come reach out to us and be like, oh, I love your stuff. And for us, it's like, well, how do I tell you that you're the reason, like, this part sounds like this because I used to listen to you 10 years ago and you were doing this and all those type of things.
Who's the biggest artist that has hit you up and like told you guys, yeah, I like your music? Or maybe not the biggest. Who's the person that you cared about the most?
I mean, like, I don't want to say cared about the most, because I care about all of them. Like, either every time one comes up to me, and it's been like a stepping stone, so it's like, oh shit every time. But I think the big one, like the one for us that was like a full circle moment, was definitely Afrojack. When Afrojack DM'd us, and it was like, 10 years ago, I was trying to make your Dutch house music. Like, that was what I wanted to make. And
that's awesome.
If you hear people tell us all the time, oh, I always hear Dutch house in your music. Yeah, we still love Dutch house. So you're still gonna hear a little.
You love it.
He loves it too, because he loves Moombahton and all that things. They all come from it. So when you hear the little and all those like rhythmic synths and things, it's coming from the place where we were listening to him. So that was like a big full circle for us. But all of them, like Sid as well. We listened to Sid a lot, like 5-6 years ago. And we were definitely like influenced at him for a certain period. So then we have tracks with him now, and all these type of things. It's just like, it's motivation. Every time we're meeting our idols or heroes and people we looked up to and tried to imitate and copy.
Crazy.
So
it's so crazy, right?
Yeah.
Because like, you spend all these years in a small dark room making music, dreaming of, being like those people, and then those people become your peers.
Yep. And now we bring them to our small dark room,
That's all. So yeah, about the YouTube stuff, before we got into that, I think that it's a weird world. It's very weird, and that's why I started my YouTube channel. Like, my YouTube tutorial channel was started because I was on YouTube and I was seeing like a ton of people that have millions and millions of followers giving like this certain advice on how to get on Dirtybird. And I was on Dirtybird, and I knew people that were on Dirtybird, and none of these people had YouTube channels or were talking about that. So I felt a little bit like, what gives you the knowledge or power to say,
this is what I'm talking about.
How do I do this? Like, how to do this if you haven't done it?
I actually have another question about. I want to know what you guys think about it. Where they say a magician never reveals his tricks, like, or how he did it. What are your thoughts on that? Because I know Ian is very transparent on his whole process and things, but I do understand where there's a certain element of what you do that makes you you, and as soon as you give it to other people, then they are you.
Before you gonna be
go ahead.
The reason I'm so transparent is because I can give you all the tools I have. I can put you in my studio, and you can sit at the desk using my computer, my plugins, my presets, whatever it is I have at your disposal. I'll give you the whole week. I guarantee you're not going to make anything that sounds anywhere close to what we've put out, or what I've ever put out, or what I will put out.
I agree 100%, but they can definitely put out a bad copy of it.
But I don't care, because it's not me.
I know.
It doesn't matter.
But it does, like... Okay,
it's the saturation of the market. If people have a bad Black Phoenix music.
So I'm 100% with giving back, and I think you guys are probably some of the best people I've met on when it comes to sharing and just helping people out, right? Because you don't have to do that.
If I learned everything I learned on YouTube, what's stopping you from watching the same videos I did?
True. I mean, I think there's levels to this, right? So I have a whole Discord, I have a whole show every Wednesday where I try to give back, listen to people's tracks, and do stuff that people charge a lot of money for. And me starting out, I paid people $15-20 per listen just to give me that last listen. So I've done it myself. So I try to give back as much as possible. I try to help out. I answer all of my DMs, and I think you guys answer all of your emails, all of that. But then there's a step where it's like, I don't want to put out my own sample. I don't want to put out my sample back. That's something that, like, I don't want to do that. You know why? Because I do make my own sounds. So that's where I guess I draw the line, because if I was a person that just was gonna put a ton of let's say splice sample packs together and put that out, or if I was a person that used loops, then maybe I wouldn't care. But I might spend hours making one 808. Like if you listen to my Mueve track, that 808 for me it's a fucking work of art for me, right? I'm not saying for anybody else. For me, it's a work of art. It took a lot of time. It took 1,000 EQs and saturations to make that sound the way it does. So am I going to give that away? I don't want to do that. Am I going to tell you maybe how to do it? And am I going to help you, tell you how to fit the kick with the 808 and all that? 1,000%. But I don't like, there's a line where like, I don't want to give you my sample pack. You know what I mean?
No, sure.
That's it. That's where I'm at with that. But, I just like, and that's why I wanted to talk to you guys, and I want to talk to other artists. I want to have the people that are actually doing it tell people what to do, or just talk about how they do stuff. I don't know. It feels like a bit of misleading, right? It's like when you see these financial advisors or whatever, they're living with their mom and they're telling you buy this stock.
Oh, yeah,
and I'm like, if you're telling me what stock to buy, you better be Warren Buffett or Ray Dalio or somebody who's a billionaire. Because if not, I'm not going to listen to you. If you want to see a how to get on Dirtybird video, then you gotta watch a video that somebody that's on Dirtybird made. That's it. Maybe this is what the podcast is gonna be called, and I'm gonna clickbait the shit out of all of you, and it's gonna be how to get on Dirtybird with Black V-neck, and it's gonna be 1,000 times more real than somebody that has absolutely no releases putting out a track that sounds like Fisher 6 years ago, making a beat that sounds like Fisher 6 years ago.
That's how you're going to title the episode. How to get on Dirtybird with Black V-neck. And then you're going to find the whole episode, and we're going to tell you the secret right now, and then it's just going to... That's it. That's the end of the episode.
And the secret is...
This is the end of the episode. No,
well, thank you so much for having us, man.
Yeah, I think you got... Hey, so honestly, how to get on Dirtybird is you need to be ahead of the curve. That's it.
That's the moral of the story. Be original, be ahead.
Yeah. We told you everything on how to get it to this podcast. You got to watch it 10 times. Thumbs up, honestly, like, and subscribe.
Honestly, we did say it because Dirtybird signs tracks from you, signs tracks from me, signs tracks from all kinds of people. A lot of these tracks are very different. And if you want to get on Dirtybird, then you can't just follow the formula. You got to make original tracks, and you got to stay ahead of the curve because they don't want to,
Dirtybird doesn't even follow the formula.
Exactly.
So, like,
there you go.
What are you doing?
So that's how to get on Dirtybird. And I'm going to clip this, and we're going to do it. I think we're good. Where can people follow you, listen to your music? It's plug time right now.
At Black V-neck Music everywhere.
At Black V-neck Music everywhere.
BlackVneckMusic.com if you want to go there, but Spotify, Black V-neck, SoundCloud, Black V-neck, Apple Music, Black V-neck. Real simple.
Black V-neck.
Black V-neck. So, I'm Ernesto. I don't think we even introduced ourselves, but this is what this thing is going to be. It's just hanging out with people that really make their own music, and that's what it's going to be like. You can check out all of my stuff at ERNESTOSbeats.com. And that's it. Go there, and that's it.
You still do the thing where you're like, oh, yeah, the link's going to be right here.
The link? No, not really. Where's it? I mean, I could link it right there. But no, all the important links will be in the description.
We didn't say our names. My name's Julian.
Yo me llamo Ian.
Julian and Ian. All the important links are going to be down in the description, including all of their socials and new music and mine. And let us know if you dig this format. Let us know if you're interested in actually listening to some nerds that make music on how they live and how they do all this sort of stuff. Just let us know.
Yeah, let us know if you like my socks in the comments.
Let us know.
No shoes in the house, so I got the Supreme Hanes on.
I just have black socks. I totally failed at this. All right, that's it, man.
Thank you.